Hello, my darlings. It's been a while since we made a Denki Kaminari story. So here's the Denki Kaminari story. Boku no Hero, obviously, as you can see in the title. And I hope you enjoyed just as much as I enjoyed writing it. However, before we go right into it, I would like to remind you to watch the video until the end, like or dislike, and comment something down below. This way you help me with the YouTube algorithm. And even if you just comment something like, "Hey, this comment is for the algorithm," that's already fine. It doesn't need to be something substantial. Just coherent words. So otherwise YouTube thinks it's spam, and if it's spam, then YouTube is like, "No, this doesn't really count as a comment." Uh, it's a little finicky. I am fully aware of that. Um, One more thing: if you have any fan stuff you wanna do, you're allowed. I'm not like, other YouTubers that have, for example, a prong of Rule 34. You can draw whatever you want, as long as I'm in it, and you link to my stuff in the description or something. Anyways, hope you enjoy the show, and let's get right into it. You and Denki Kaminari had been dating for 3 months now, and it had been 1 month since UA opened its student dorms. It was a lot to take in, so the fact that you and your boyfriend could still enjoy your favorite couple's tradition was keeping you grounded. It was actually Kaminari's idea to have a movie night in the first place. Mostly because you were a little bit of a boring person. You didn't talk much, and even then it wasn't a lot. Most conversations you had were short, often with just single-word answers. And this movie night gave you two a topic to discuss. At first he had suggested anime, but more often than not, you just simply didn't get them. And binge-watching a show with over 30 episodes was tiring to him. So movies it was. On top of that, it gave you two topics to discuss for a few days. He considered it a win-win. Denki yawned and leaned back, boldly placing an arm around your shoulder. Tonight you two were watching a rather boring horror movie on the TV inside your dorm room, but despite his boredom, he couldn't help but feel tense, probably a side effect of your presence. He glanced towards you and suppressed a giggle. You were on the edge of your seat, your lower lip quivering with anticipation as the main character and obvious final girl walked into a dark hallway. While most of her drunk, bumbling friends were still alive. Sometimes he wondered why he loved you so much. And then, most of the time, things like this happened. Your mouth formed the words "don't go there." He sighed contentedly. You were so cute. And then, suddenly a quick flash erupted through your window, making both of you shriek. "What was that?" you shouted. He got up to check. Looks like it's going to rain really soon." He said it with more nervousness in his voice than he intended. You whimpered. "But there wasn't anything on the news today." Denki turned around. "Yeah, my weather app didn't tell anything as well." You gulped. "Do you think it's a quirk user? Are we being attacked again?" He walked over to you and gave you a hug. He needed to calm you down, or this would turn ugly. Plus, he himself was kinda tense as well. It's just the weather acting up. There's no one coming to take you. You sniffled. Thoughts of what happened to Bakugo a few days ago filled your brain. "There, after Bakugo, remember?" I mean, he can kinda watch out for himself. Then again, getting kidnapped isn't really a good sign for that. By now the movie was just background noise. This was more important. Within 3 steps he was by your side and sat next to you on your bed. "Look, it basically just happened. I doubt they're going to risk it." He took your hand in his. They won't attack. Trust me. His eyes were focused on yours. And if they have the fucking audacity to attack us on movie night, I'll shock them so hard they'll light up like a Christmas tree. You bit your lower lip, admiring his bold words. A loud shriek suddenly came from the TV, making you jump up right into him. The sudden force took him by surprise, and you two tumbled on the ground. He groaned as air was pressed out of him, and for a moment he saw stars. Part of him was glad it was your embarrassed face was looking at when his vision normalized. I'm sorry, you cried. To avoid a long period of you apologizing to him, he wrapped his arms around your waist. Feeling his warm and large hands on your back calmed you down. You allowed yourself to sink your head into his chest. He smelled like lemonade. You smiled. Denki still used this off-brand baby shampoo, a secret you had found out by accident while you were looking for dental floss in his dorm room. According to him, it was because he preferred translucent shampoo, but his personal preference in beverages proved the opposite. It was thanks to your own quirk, however, that you were now feeling sleepy, and judging by his yawn, it already affected him. Your quirk was called Condition Overload. It made it so that when you were affected by something, others around you were too. This included drowsiness, being drunk, being exceedingly angry, and being horny. The latter of which Denki seemed to find the most annoying. Or, well, most appreciative. However, the side effects of your quirk was that the more people you affected, the harder it hit you yourself. Luckily, this also meant that during battles you tended to fight more vicious, allowing you quick, cheap shots on enemies. It was only now you realized that maybe that's why you two got along so well. He was very confident and kinda powerful. Not top class, but still mentionable. This meant that when you were afraid of his and your own safety, he could still stay calm. The fear you projected onto him with your quirk, he could simply shake off. And then, zap. The light went out and both of you shrieked like children, which repeated when a loud thunder roared over your heads. You were out of breath and you could feel his muscles tense under you. After he had managed to collect himself, he slowly opened his mouth. It's the fuse. It's the fuse. Don't worry. It's the fuse. He said this over and over, like a mantra, as if he didn't even believe it himself. It took both of you a minute, or two, until you realized, with no electricity, the defense system of UA was also disabled. Within seconds, both of you were hyper-aware of your surroundings. He was searching for the nightstand for a flashlight, while you were crawling on the floor trying to find your phone. The air felt heavy on you, and then a slow pitter-patter began on your window as it slowly began to rain. Just the fuse. Just the fuse. He kept mumbling. Ah, got it! He shouted as a blinding light shot into your face. Sorry, sweetie. He apologized. No, it's fine. You cried. Okay. Everything is going to be peachy. I'll go get it fixed. He sighed. We probably woke up the rest of the dorm with our screaming, so... Hey, I won't be alone. He gently kissed your forehead before leaving your room. As soon as he was out of your quirk's influence, his confidence slowly returned. Of course, he still felt nervous. The possibility of this being another attack was still waving through his gut, but it was bearable now. And who was he kidding? None of your classmates were running about. Both of you hadn't screamed nearly loud enough for anyone to bother. His more devious side, however, hoped that some of the students' clocks would reset once the electricity was back on. He really wanted to see what would happen if Bakugo was late for school. He passed by the boys' rooms and went down a couple of flights of stairs into the basement. His heart sank upon seeing the fuse box. Didn't look like the one from his home. He took a deep breath and just randomly pulled one of the levers. Jeez, I hope I didn't break anything. He mumbled and then laughed, more out of desperation than actually being amused. The hell, however, stood in place, and a small light at the top right corner of the fuse box lit up. He shrugged and left. Back to your room. On his way, Denki noticed that the clock on the dorm stove had turned back on, and he sighed in relief. The electricity really was back. Once he returned to your side, he finally reached a point of tranquility. I don't want to watch the movie anymore, you said meekly. He chuckled. Understandable. Honestly, I don't want to watch it either. You sighed contentedly. This had been enough for today. Sleep was the only thing on your mind. But also you didn't want him to leave. How could you make him stay? Hey, should I go back into my room? Denki said reluctantly. You bit your bottom lip. Why don't you stay? With your arms, you squeezed your chest together. I would feel much better if a big, strong guy like you would hold me tonight. He giggled. Well, I guess we could have some fun in the dark together, huh? He said while switching off your room's light. Before diving into your bed with you.